Well, boys and girls, the proxy fight over at the Walt Disney Company that could have potentially decided its future going forward is officially over. And although it did not go the way we wanted, obviously Bob Iger and his slate of yes men and women out there on that board of directors are still currently in power over at the House of Mouse and Nelson Peltz. And Jay Rasulo obviously did unfortunately not end up making it onto the board, which is something that we had all hoped for to actually see a change in the House of Mouse going forward. But boys and girls, don't be completely disappointed by what happened today, because at the end of the day, this meeting, this shareholders meeting, this stakeholders meeting, this vote was an absolutely epic event because Bob Iger got roasted to the nines, ladies and gentlemen. And it wasn't just from the people who you typically expect it from, the people who don't like what Disney is currently doing with all of the nonsense, trying to push all of the agenda and try to drive all of this stuff towards our kids and try to corrupt all of our favorite franchises and destroy them and devastate them in any way, shape, or form. No, 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 no. It wasn't just by the actual fans of these properties out there. No, 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 no. Bob Iger also got roasted by the people he tries to politically align himself. Yes, the woke acolytes of the cult out there completely and solely put up a proposal that also roasted Bob Iger, and they got to talk about it live on the air, and it is absolutely hilarious, boys and girls. And we also have some other very wonderful stuff coming from Chloe Cole herself, who was live on the line roasting Bob Iger and the agenda-driven nonsense they have been pushing the last few years. And we've got the video of her making the call in her phone as well, because she posted it on her social media. So we're going to check that out. We're also going to get into all of the different things of all of the other ways that Bob Iger was also roasted during this thing. And because the fact that the stock price is already dropping, it looks like a lot of the mainstream still agrees with the average individual, the average fan out there, and not necessarily with the investors that actually hold all of Disney stock and all of its shares. So we're going to check out this article, The Hollywood Reporter, but would really to get into all of the wonderful stuff that's been going on, there's a great little breakdown over here from Deadline of all of the different stuff that's going on, but we'll start off with The Hollywood Reporter to get right there. So boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe if you have not already. Disney declares victory in proxy fight as Nelson Peltz fails to win board seat. Peltz launched his proxy fight earlier this year and was seeking to oust Disney board members Marina Elana and Lagusimo and Michael Froman in a win for the Walt Disney Company and CEO Bob Iger, but not in a win for all of the fans out there. Disney says that all of its directors' nominees have been elected by its shareholders, rebuffing the activist investor Nelson Peltz, who had been running a high-profile campaign to put himself and former Disney CFO Jay Rasulo on the company's board. Disney announced the preliminary results at the end of its annual shareholder meeting Thursday, noting the final results will be filed with the SEC later. Its annual shareholder meeting Thursday? It was a Wednesday. What the hell, Hollywood Reporter? What's wrong with you? I'm literally recording this video after just watching this on my live stream that we have every Monday through Friday on 11 a.m. over on Rumble. Like, we all got to watch this and roast it live. Like, what? Like, maybe they meant that it'll be announced officially Thursday. It'll be filed with the SEC Thursday. I don't know. But the shareholders meeting was on a Wednesday. What is wrong with you people? Peltz and CIO's director had been announced. A source says that Iger secured 94% of the vote for his board. Lagusimo beat Peltz by a margin of about 2-1, with activists securing about 30% of the vote for his seat, and Rasulo lost his vote by a margin of 5-1, according to industry insiders. And here's one of the other problems with this: is we've been getting a lot of leaks about this vote over the last few days, and the only people that could have leaked that was people with inside the Walt Disney Company themselves. So I'd imagine going forward, there's going to be some seriously interesting things going with that. But Bob Iger, like I said, got roasted left and right throughout this shareholders meeting. A majority of these proposals that did not come directly from Bob Iger and the Disney CEO, the Disney board of directors themselves, is absolutely hilarious, because it is so funny on so many different levels going forward. Because Disney shareholders also, yes, they did defeat a series of proposals targeting the culture war, but needless to say, the roasting, if you have not been able to go see and actually listen to these people roast Bob Iger, I highly recommend it. Or go back and watch our live stream where we covered this live, going over the entire thing, and listen to the voices of these people absolutely roasted. And we will get to listen to the voice of Chloe Cole here in just a second, calling out Bob Iger for all of the transgender nonsense that he has been pushing through all of Disney's children's television shows. So one took aim at the company's contributions to politicians who opposed climate change measures, supported anti-abortion laws, and embraced Donald Trump's stolen election conspiracy theories. Yes, literally, one of Bob Iger's own cult members, someone who is supposed to believe in all of the same agenda-driven nonsense that he does. Enough of them got together to put forward a proposal on the board that they wanted them to disclose all of their financial contributions and then justify. These woke acolytes of the cult wanted Bob Iger and the whole of the Walt Disney Company to justify to them why they contributed to specific politicians. Bob Iger can't catch a break. All of the normal people out there can't stand him for what he's done to all of their favorite franchises out there. And all of the weirdos out there can't stand him because he's not going far enough. Right? This is what happens when you curtail yourself to the cult. This is what happens when you bow down to the woke, agenda-driven, LGBTQIA plus alphabet soup nonsense mafia. Because you'll never be woke enough for the cult. You'll never be woke enough for the crowd. This is what happens every single time you do this. You give them an inch and they take a mile. Once they've got their mile, they're going to ask for all of the rest of the road. They will only be happy if they completely and totally control every aspect of what your company does. That's the only way. And even then, they'll only be happy when they're the king of the pile of ash heap, because every time you follow DIE, diversity, inclusion, and equity, your company does one thing. And I use that acronym a very specific way, because DIE causes your company and your franchises to do exactly that. Die. And this has been proven time and time again so true. The old adage, go woke, go broke, exists for a reason. It has been proven right time and time again. Just ask Bud Light. So the other one here, so now he's gotten smacked from the left, right? Verbally been smacked from the left. Now he gets verbally smacked from the right as well. Another proposal brought by the Conservative National Legal and Policy Center, who are also the people that are currently calling Disney out for their fiduciary issues, called on the company to pay for gender detransitioning care. Oh, but there's more to the story than that, isn't there, Deadline? Because there's a person behind that. It's not just that they were calling for transgender disagreements. No. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so much worse than that, because not only has the stock price dropped down, but here it is from Chloe Cole herself. It's not just that they were calling on the Walt Disney Company to pay for detransitioning, which is what Chloe Cole has to go for. No, she also called the company out for all of the nonsense and all of the agenda-driven stuff that they have been doing. So let's listen to this, and let's listen to her absolutely roast this. So as she says right here from her own social media post over on X, just got off the phone with the Disney annual shareholders meeting. I needed to call out Bob Iger and the rest of the board's hypocrisy and the dangerous lies they fed us through the media. Here is what they said, because obviously, Deadline and none of the rest of the acolytes of the cult, all of those legacy media organizations out there, those simps for the spirit of the age, they're not going to quote Chloe Cole for exactly what she said, but we certainly are going to show exactly what she said, because this is glorious, ladies and gentlemen, absolutely glorious.
She limit the presentation to 2 minutes at most.
There you go.
Good morning. I am Chloe Cole, patient advocate for Do No Harm, a group that...
Obviously, she's reading off a pre-recorded script when you've only got 2 minutes to write down. She obviously wrote out her statement before she actually put it out there. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make a difference. This statement absolutely destroys the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger, and what they have done and the way they have tried to target our kids.
Seeks accountability in the medical profession. I am presenting proposal number 7, titled Report on Gender Transitioning Compensation and Benefits, sponsored by National Legal and Policy Center. Disney pays for gender transition interventions, but not detransitioning care. Therefore, the company discriminates based on gender identity.
Right there. So she's calling them out for discrimination, right? Because they pay for gender affirming care, right? Body mutilation. They pay for that, but they won't pay if you decide to regret your decision later. They won't pay for you to attempt to detransition, right? So if you decide that, guess what? Maybe all the nonsense garbage that they brainwashed you with over all of these years. No. They'll only help you go one way, because that way fits the agenda. Detransitioners do not fit the agenda, because that does not meet the cult's basic requirements. It does not meet their brainwashing, because you were born in the wrong body, and transitioning is the only thing that's going to make you the real you. But boy, all of a sudden, later down the road, you decide that that's not the real you, and the way you were born, the way God designed you and intended you, was actually the right and natural way for you to be. Oh, no. Disney doesn't want to pay for that now, do they? Because that doesn't fit the agenda. And here is Chloe so eloquently calling them out for it.
Under EEOC regulations. I speak from personal experience as someone who was deceived and physically harmed at a young age by gender ideology, validated by the medical industry and pushed to the masses by corporations like Disney. Influenced by modern media and social networks, I began to transition to male at age 12. By age 16, after practitioners I trusted encouraged me to take puberty blockers and get a double mastectomy, I tried to come back to reality, but it was too late.
And this is a story that we've seen happen with so many others. This is such a tragic tale. You've seen so many people brainwashed at a young age, especially vulnerable girls, especially those with mental issues and stuff like that. These are the people that they latch onto. They just try to destroy and manipulate. It's just like the old communist stuff where they try to get, they used to call them useful idiots, right? The people that are easily manipulated. And instead of having adults that are the useful idiots that are easily manipulated just because they're stupid, no, instead they're trying to target children because they realize they can't target adults with this kind of nonsense and actually have it get them anywhere. It's extremely rare. It doesn't work very well. It works much better in children because children are easy to manipulate and they're sponges. Things anybody who's ever raised kids absolutely knows. And also, please make sure you smash that like button and leave a comment down below and share this out with all of your friends because I guarantee you, especially over on YouTube, this video is not going to get very much traction because of exactly what she's talking about in here.
My body has been irreversibly damaged, and years later, my chest is still in bandages. My doctors have abandoned me. You doctors look and shrug. As a result, I am suing those professionals who steered me into taking these destructive steps that have permanently scarred me. But Disney, in its arrogance, has responded to our proposal by stating that I am only trying to generate attention for a limited agenda. Mr. Iger, Disney, under your watch, is pushing the limited agenda of gender ideology. Disney has become the Ursula that is stealing the voices of thousands of little Ariels across the world by telling us that we can be something that we can never become.
And I love the fact that she used a Disney reference in there too, specifically calling out, you know, the Ariel thing, because what we know right now, right, is they in the new Disney children's show for the new version of Little Mermaid, right? They've race swap Ariel just like they did in the movie. And now Ursula, instead of being an evil villain, now she's a sassy aunt who's just mischievous, completely and totally destroying the entire original story of their own creation. So I'm glad Chloe used this as a reference. This is great.
The lawsuits are coming, sir. It's only a matter of time before current or past employees whose bodies and lives have been irreversibly harmed will show up at your door looking for justice and restitution. Please vote for proposal number 7.
Legend. Absolute legend. Because she's absolutely spot on right. There's so many of these people that regret this down the line. Eventually, those lawsuits, like she's suing her doctors and all of her counselors that did this to her and manipulated her and brainwashed her into this being okay. Yes, she's absolutely going to roast them, and she's right to do it, and she's absolutely right to sue them. And guess what? If Disney continues to offer this and people actually take them up on it and use it, I don't know, maybe use it on their kids. Yeah, Bob, at some point, Disney's going to have to rectify that. At some point, Disney is going to have to deal with that. And I hope that day comes very, very soon. So shout out to Chloe Cole for calling out Disney for this nonsense and absolutely roasting them right in front of Bob Iger's face at their very own shareholders meeting. Shout out to Chloe Cole. But it's not done yet. It wasn't just Chloe. It wasn't just the lefties. There's more stuff as well. More stuff. We have another one here. A third from the Conservative National Center for Public Policy Research called for the company to disclose charitable contributions of $5,000 or more on their website. The group accused the company of trying to pursue an agenda via contributions to groups like the Trevor Project and Gleason, all a bunch of advocacy for a bunch of bad things that they want to do to your children kind of stuff, right? This is very similar to what the lefties were calling for, as far as all the wokies were calling for, as far as getting them to disclose all of their political contributions and justify them. Not only because obviously by law you have to disclose your political contributions, but companies do anyway, but then they want them to justify it as well. This is a very similar thing. They want to disclose private instead of just political donations, charitable donations of $5,000 or more, so that way people know who Disney is supporting. And this wasn't the only one. They don't mention another one in here, but there was also something in there about the golden parachutes, right? The proposal was for the golden parachutes to be set and regulated by a very specific amount and not just be basically up to the whims of the board. Well, guess what? That one didn't go through either. So literally it's just nothing more of the same over at the Walt Disney Company. Bob Iger and his board of directors, as well as apparently the majority of the shareholders, or at least all the people that Bob Iger has been able to convince with all of his bullshit, quite literally, have decided that they want to keep going down this path forward. No matter how much they've been roasted, they want to keep allowing Bob Iger and all of his yes men to have complete and total control over this company and continue to drive it into the absolute ground. It's just not going very well. So if nothing else, boys and girls, if nothing else, from the solace that we can take from this is that Chloe Cole and so many others were able to get on the recordings, to get on to this call and absolutely roast them. So not only did Bob Iger get it from his own side, the very people that he is pandering to out there, not only did they roast him, which that in and of itself is a glorious and beautiful and wonderful thing, but also plenty of people like Chloe Cole and so many others got in on that call and got to roast Bob Iger and call him out in public in front of God and everybody, and put him on the carpet, put him on the rug, and say, answer for this, because we are going to call you out for that. Now, of course, Bob Iger and the rest of these people aren't going to actually respond to any of this. They're just going to be quiet little cowards and quiet little mouses and hide behind their ivory towers. But guess what? Those ivory towers are built on a foundation of sand. And that is being proven more and more, not only as your stock price continues to go down after this vote, but also as you continue to fail miserably at the box office time and time again. And as more parents wake up, more normal people, more average Main Street folks, more common nerds, wake up to your BS, wake up to your nonsense. Your house built on sand will continue to fall, will continue to crumble. You will continue to have box office disaster after box office disaster. Your Disney Plus streaming services will continue to bleed money and continue to lose viewership all of the time. Your shows will fail miserably. And guess what? Bob Iger and the rest of the Disney CEOs, the rest of the Disney board of executives, and all of you Disney shareholders out there who voted to keep these idiots in power, enjoy your stock price going through the toilet and enjoy billion-dollar loss after billion-dollar loss, hundreds of millions of dollars at the movies, billions of dollars at streamings, billions of dollars at the parks. Enjoy watching it continue to burn down, because Bob Iger, his executive board, and every shareholder who voted in favor of him today are all responsible for the absolute destruction and devastation of all things Disney and everything that they've touched. So go ahead. You've done it to yourselves. Burn, Disney, burn. But hey, at least Bob Iger knows exactly where he stands with the majority of people out there.